Strangford Lough, the largest sea lough in the British Isles. A magical landscape that has captivated hearts and minds throughout history. From the vast sand flats of the north to the fast-flowing channels of the south, where the lough's waters meet the Irish Sea, this majestic landscape tells the story of a rich heritage and diverse ecosystem. "150 kilometres of shoreline weaves its way through drumlins, harbours and beaches, encircling numerous pladies and over 70 islands, each with their own unique habitat, playing host to a wealth of wildlife unrivalled in Europe."
Strangford Lough has a very ancient history in terms of the rocks, but all that was hugely influenced by the ice during the last ice age, which ground away the softer rocks and created the landscape that we have today with all the beautiful rolling drumlins which were formed under the ice sheet and left when it melted. So we have this classic basket of eggs landscape of all the little drumlin hills, and when the sea level rose after the ice melted and the land rebounded and the pressure of the ice was relieved, many of these drumlins ended up as islands, and so you have this myriad of islands within the water.
The drumlins have been altered through the ages as people have built on and farmed the area's well-drained and fertile soils, both a legacy of the Ice Age. The hedges that now crisscross the land are traditional field boundaries.
People were drawn to the area by the mild climate, the shelter, the shellfish. There was plenty of fish in the sea, but the land was good for farming, and so when people moved from being hunter-gatherers to farmers, it was a favoured spot, and the land that would have been covered in forest was gradually cleared, and we have this hedged farmland now.
Designated an area of outstanding natural beauty, this most unique landscape has attracted interest from around the world, with scientists, botanists, zoologists and engineers coming to examine and learn from the landscapes and seascapes of Strangford Lough.
We'd enjoy this fantastic sort of mild microclimate here. The Ards Peninsula itself is like a little island, only sort of 3 or 4 miles wide. On top of that, then you've got the big body of the Irish Sea beyond. So even if you drove down the middle of the peninsula in the depth of winter, the temperature might go down to 1, but as soon as you came down to the coast, it would go up to 4 and 5 degrees. So it means that if we do get a frost, it only dips down for an hour or 2 and doesn't do any damage. So, we can grow a lot of things outside. You can't grow this far north outside in the British Isles.
One of the most interesting and remarkable things about Strangford Lough is the contrast between the Narrows, which is also known as the river by the local people because of the violent tides, 8-knot currents, and the open lough. Lough Cuan means the harbour or sheltered lough. So you have this change from very rapid currents to these gentle waters.
The UK's largest coastal inlet, Strangford Lough is a huge 150 square kilometre inland sea that empties twice a day, sending more than 350 million cubic metres of water rushing out into the Irish Sea on some of the fastest tidal currents in the world. And it's this that has attracted leading engineers seeking to explore opportunities to harvest the water's energy and use it to generate electricity.
In the Narrows, you get tides up to about 8 knots. Now that's 6 metres a second. You could hardly run that fast. And it weaves it bounces off rocks. It's amazingly violent, amazingly energetic. Because of that incredible amount of energy in the system, that brings lots of food in. There's a vast variety of corals, of sponges. It's like the barrier reef down there. Now, that energy is very special for other things as well, because that energy shouldn't be just thrown away. That energy should be used.
In 2008, marine current turbines installed Seagen, the world's first commercial marine current turbine.
The first full-scale marine turbine was put in here as a trial. A 5-year experiment initially, which has now been extended, and it works. Seagen stands on 4 legs on the seabed. A column comes up from it with 2, which can only be called propellers on each side. Now they're 16 metres long, and they turn with the water flowing past, and that's what runs the generator that produces the electricity. It's like a wind turbine, but it's water driven. So it's linked into the grid, it's producing energy, and it's totally reliable. You don't have to wait for the wind because the tide is always there. So it is a totally reliable energy source.
Today's engineers are not the first to try to harness the power of the loch. They follow in the footsteps of their monastic ancestors, who, in 619 AD, built the world's earliest excavated tidal mill in Nandrum on the shores of Strangford Lough.
You're standing on Mahee Island in the ruins of Nandrum Monastery. Mahee, the place name, was derived from a saint, an early Christian saint called Mochi, who's purported to be a disciple of Patrick. And you're standing on what's probably one of the best examples of an early monastic site. It's a triple ringed enclosure. The central ring that we're in here at the minute is the Holy of Holies, where you had the church, a shrine, you have burials. As you move out, you have people living in the next ring out, and also having workshops and scriptoriums, orchards outside that. And probably most significantly with Nandrum, we have the earliest tide mill in the world. The tide mill makes this site more significant. It shows that the monks here were using a technology that we weren't really aware that was being used at that particular time, and it's a technology that's still being used today further down the loch at the Narrows with the new Seagen turbine.
It was early innovators like these who paved the way for future generations to harness the power of the loch, embedding their lives within the very fabric of the landscapes and seascapes of Strangford Lough.